everyone, it's Michelle, and I'm back with another Wake and Bake. Today I'm making the ever-popular pumpkin spice latte, except I'm making it in cake form. It's a pumpkin spice cake with caramel frosting, and I think if fall ever had a flavor, this would be it. I've added spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger for that extra flavor. I also covered it in fondant to look like a coffee mug. And I did two different toppings, one of a latte heart and the other of whipped cream, which is really buttercream. If you're new here, I would love it if you subscribe down below for more baking videos. Okay, let's get started on making this pumpkin spice latte cake. First, I'm going to start with 3 cups of flour. Then I'll add 1½ teaspoons of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. Next, I added a variety of spices, including 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. It's time to mix it up until it's fully incorporated. Next, for the wet ingredients. First, I'll be mixing 3/4 cups of unsalted softened butter. And then I'll add in 2 cups of sugar. Now I'll add in 2 eggs. And I'll add them each separately so that it's evenly incorporated. I'll add in a tablespoon of vanilla extract and 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. To top it off, I'll add in 15 ounces of canned pumpkin puree, which is 1 full can. Once the wet ingredients are evenly mixed, I'll start adding the dry ingredients from before. And I'll alternate it with 1 cup of milk. You just want to keep alternating back and forth between the dry ingredients and the milk until everything is gone. And then you'll have a nice pumpkin cake batter. Time to put them into the cake pans. I'm using 2 6-inch pans here. I'll bake it at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. Next is the fondant for the outside of the coffee mug. I'll be making a pumpkin and some fall-colored leaves, as well as the handle for the mug, which I'm going to start with first. The handle is so easy. I just rolled it out into a cylinder and then turned it into a U shape. I'm adding cake pop sticks into the ends for more stability when I put it into the cake later. And I'll set it aside to let it dry and harden. Next are the fall-colored leaves. And I'm grabbing 3 different colors of fondant here and rolling it together. I want to blend it together to make it a nice fall leaf color. As the leaves change in the fall, they turn into different colors, so I didn't want each leaf just to be one solid color. Once I was happy with how they were mixed together, I used my leaf cutter to cut out small leaves in the fondant. For a bit of detail, I added the vein of the leaf with a toothpick, and I just did a little line down the middle of the leaf. Next is my pumpkin. I'm going to roll out some orange fondant and use my circle cookie cutter to cut out a circle of fondant. I'll create a little indent in the pumpkin where the stem is going to go with the toothpick. And I'll just do this by hand to make it a bit more soft and natural. Then I'll use a little bit of green fondant to make the stem. And I'll insert it right into the little groove of the pumpkin. With my toothpick again, I'll etch in some lines for the pumpkin. Now it's time to make the caramel for the caramel buttercream. I'll start off with 1 cup of sugar over high heat, and you want to make sure to stir constantly so the sugar doesn't burn. It'll start to turn liquid and an amber color. Once it becomes amber and slightly darkened, I'll add in 3 tablespoons of butter. And then I'll add 3/4 cups of heavy cream. And let me tell you, your house will start smelling wonderful because of this caramel. It just brings out all those fall vibes. I like to let it boil for 1 additional minute, and then I'll put it into a heat-safe container and in the fridge to cool. I have some classic buttercream here, and I'll link the recipe in the description box below. And I'm adding 1/4 cup of the cooled caramel. Now we have caramel buttercream to go with our pumpkin cake. The cakes are cold and ready for a crumb coat. I'm adding a thicker vanilla buttercream on the edges to hold in the softer caramel buttercream. I'll add a rough layer of caramel buttercream around the cake, just to hold in all the crumbs. I'll pop it in the fridge for 15 minutes to chill. Once it's chilled, I'll add a second layer of caramel buttercream. Now I'm going to add the fondant over the cake for the coffee mug. And I simply measured the circumference and the height with a measuring tape, and then cut the fondant to match the measurements. Then I'll add the handle into the side of the cake. For finishing touches, I added the pumpkin and the leaves with a little bit of water. Lastly is the latte art for the top of the mug. So I'll pour a little bit of the caramel on top of the mug just to coat the top of the cake. Then I'll use some white royal icing and pipe a teardrop shape on top of the mug. Once that's filled in, I'll use a toothpick to strike through the center to make it look like a heart. And I'll do that a few times to get a little bit more definition. And my pumpkin spice latte cake is finished. There you have it, my pumpkin spice latte cakes. And this is my first time trying out latte art with buttercream and royal icing. And I think it would be really interesting to try with different designs. But if you want something simpler, piping with buttercream looks just as decadent. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Now I want to eat some of this by the fire, snuggled in a blanket. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!